Hello, this is a picture of Ellie Rowe, her younger sister Bindi, and here's her older sister,
Iona.
And I'm her mother, Wendy. So Ellie, sadly, is famous not for being the most magnificent human rights lawyer since George Clooney's wife or Bridget Jones's first husband, but for being the girl who died at Boomtown on the 8th of August 2013 after consuming a combination of ketamine and alcohol. It wasn't a long line. It was a bit long, but it wasn't that long. It was strong, pure strength, wasn't a lot of alcohol. Had she been done for drunk driving, she'd have been just a tiny bit over the limit. But it was the combination that finished her off. So we're here to talk about her 7 years on the 8th of August 2020. Not a minute has gone by without the heaviness of her loss weighing upon us. And grief is a funny thing. People bear grief in different ways. They transform grief, they deny grief. Whatever we do with grief, it's up to each one of us. But it's hard. There are times when the earth turns to liquid pitch, the sky goes black, and the air is like 1,000 knives, and the world is a very uncomfortable place to be. But I have Ellie's 2 other sisters and her father, and I breathe, I do yoga, I do all I know how to do, I carry on. And we think about Eleanor a lot, all the time. And she does in a way make it easy for us because a lot of the memories are funny. There's the famous pizza incident, for example. So there she was off on a Duke of Edinburgh escapade where they had to be abandoned to the wilderness and use their resources. I think they were expected to rub 2 sticks together to make fire, which, by the way, Ellie could do, and eat worms and so on. But given a choice, she'd rather not have done. So, eat worms, that is. So, what did she do? She somehow got her teachers to reveal the postcode of where they'd be staying that night. And when they got there, what did she do? She rang up Domino's in Bristol and got them to deliver pizzas for her and her team. And so while all the rest of them were presumably, heating up pot noodles or rubbing 2 sticks together and digging up worms or whatever, Ellie and her team were eating Domino's pizza. So can't help but laugh even when we're crying because that's the sort of person she was. She was intelligent, but she still took ketamine in combination with alcohol because she just didn't know that ketamine plus alcohol equals, in her case, death. There is information available about combination of drugs and other substances. The Loop are doing fantastic work at Boomtown and other places, and there is an app.
Yes, told to me by actually one of the Loop beautiful peoples, and it is actually a medical app, but if, for example, you're on prescription medication and you're going to take ketamine, then it would give you information about contraindications. So when I say it's a medical app, it means that it doesn't include purely recreational drugs such as cocaine, but it gives you indication in dose, contraindications, cautions, side effects, guidance if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. So it's useful, and the information is out there if you do seek.
B for Boris, N for not, F for
Foxy.
Yeah. So at the moment we have quails and cute little creatures, but not the brightest. And one of them was having trouble hatching, so we helped him out of his egg, and it was noticeable once he came out how the others perceived his weakness and pecked at him, and so we had to isolate him and look after him separately. Once he was strong enough and had fed and everything, now he's back in with the rest of them and he's doing absolutely fine. They're no longer picking on him, but very noticeable, this thing in nature whereby it is the survival of the fittest. And sadly, we have that in human nature. We have that tendency to,
Peck.
yes, that those who we perceive to be weaker than ourselves, and it's lamentable because we are humans. We're not quails, and we can actually expand our consciousness and rise above that. But we're not perfect, any of us. It's good to be mindful, but we are humans. And Ellie did take a risk. Perfectly normal to take risks. Young people take risks. I took risks when I was younger. I hitchhiked all around Europe, all over the place, through Greece, America, coast to coast, down through Central America, down through Peru. Oh, I wasn't completely mindless. I would not accept a lift if I didn't get the right vibe from the driver. A couple of occasions I did have to talk my way out of sticky situations in languages not English. Don't hitchhike, kids. I won't tell you not to take drugs, but I will tell you don't hitchhike. Just because I did it. Because I'm older and wiser now. And I never thought of my parents, really. They, when questioned by other people, not by me, I must add, said, well, if we ever worried about Wendy, we'd never sleep at night. So they didn't. And I didn't worry about them. But now I do know how very, very terrible it was for them to lose their granddaughter, Ellie. For all of us. We don't know just how valued we are, how much loved we are until we die, in which case the information's useless. So it's too late. There are people who have said, to my face even, if she took drugs she deserved to die. I've been told that by a young lad who was obviously parroting what his father had said, so I hold no animosity. People will be more cruel on the internet. Well, best thing for us is just not to go there. But humans can be like the quails. And I would say if you're ever tempted to judge somebody for a perceived weakness, for not knowing what you know, think again, because none of us are perfect. Think about a time when you made a mistake. We've all made mistakes. To be here listening to us speaking, you're alive, we're alive, great, we've still got time to redress the balance. But just be kind and compassionate, think outside the box. It makes such a difference, it changes lives. My personal journey is with yoga. In order to transform the sky to blue, the earth to something solid I can walk upon, and to turn the wind to a caress, I breathe in and especially out, because breath is the crux of transformation. We're not quails. Be kind. Eleanor was such a kind person. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, on the note of transforming the grief, for me, I've been totally obsessed with the idea that after 7 years of being missing, you're deemed legally dead. And that's played on my mind for a long time, and now we're here. It's 7 years. Now I know Eleanor isn't missing. I can refer to the memory where I drew circles on her cold forehead and pushed her coffin into the hot flames. And in fact, she sits with us now in her dusty formation. But that doesn't mean that my subconscious doesn't dream up 101 whimsical ways in which that she's still alive somewhere and I can find her. I found her in the crooks of Cornwall, hiding in a caravan, just casually floating back from Thailand or whatever have you. And even up in the cosmos, in the jaw of a cosmic serpent. She just needs to be dislodged and then she'd come back, it's fine. But yeah, so this year I've really kind of taken those dreams and felt my grief to root itself. And so just as the tree, the deeper the roots, the higher the tree, the deeper my grief and my pain is, it's expanded the heights of my capacity for love. And that love, respect, admiration, and interdependence that I had with my sister, I now find in all things and in all people and all creatures in our wondrous world. And I really want to say that I know that the forces of fear and confusion and anxiety given back to us by the powers that be are floating around on a judgmental raised eyebrow above a covered face or an awkward twitch in a supermarket. And if you're listening to this and sitting with fear or grief or shame or pain in your heart, that I love you, and I love you deeply. And we may have lost Ellie Rowe, and we may have lost this chapter of Boomtown, but those forces of love and light are still out there. The ingredients are still within our world, and we will convene again. Yeah, bring in the beauty with every breath, and be kind to yourself and others, please. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Ellie Rowe is in my dreams
And in my heart.
do, do, do.